Hello, thank you for joining in on my 365-day note writing adventure. Welcome, my name is Anna Delman. I'm on day 329 out of 365 days of personal note writing. Every day I write something to myself to challenge myself into how I want my life to be different and the direction it needs to take. And then as the week concludes, I do a summary. So it's Sunday, and I know it's the start of a week, but Monday is the start of like a work week, and that's a work week for me on writing notes. So it's Sunday, and my note for today is: the week began with a look at friendship, what it required of me, and it closed with a challenge to make changes in my life, to bring me back into accordance, into just enjoying the fellowship in my atmosphere, the fellowship with myself, the fellowship with others beyond my immediate boundaries. So on day number 323, my note was being a friend. What does it require of me? And it was, if you want friends, be a good one. Are you a good friend to you? And that's what caused me to end the week with looking at how we need to work towards personal change. We need to get to the point of liking ourselves, and I did become disciplined habits becomes your companionship, because you like the changes that are coming to your life, and you enjoy your own company, which is not a bad thing to do. So day 323, being a good friend, what does it require of me? Let's get busy living. Practical steps. That means you need to choose your thoughts and choose what you think about, and do not listen to the past, other than it instructing you on how to bring your life in accordance with change and what that could look like. Yes, you may have made many mistakes. Yes, you may have messed up in your life in many ways, and you can allow that to accuse you, or you can allow the shame to be removed, the negativity of your heart sentiments about that to be different. You accept it, you acknowledge it, and you commit. Because of that, it should spur you forward to make greater changes in your life. Day number 324, cutting through and digging out of difficult atmospheres. Take a look at the influences, the outer influences and the inner influences that I have on the board, and what your disciplined habits are. And then once you have disciplined habits that make your inner atmosphere comfortable because of the outer atmosphere, you then can share with others and encourage others to make the same change. I did share on day number 324 that it is kind of circular, that your inner atmosphere helps you to respond correctly to the outer atmosphere, and the outer atmosphere may come against you, but your inner peace and calm, that inner atmosphere, will help you to respond, obviously, then in a gracious way to those outer things which are uncomfortable for anybody to experience. Day number 325, I acknowledge that in 40 days, my inner outer atmosphere needs to change and what it must look like. I wanted more calmness and serenity within my heart, my soul, which then is evidence in my functioning. And I needed to be joyful and excited about beyond the 365 days. And I needed to be smiling at life. And I needed to grow my friendship with Jesus as a response. I did also explain the depths of the change that with the Word of God we can make in our lives. And I quoted Proverbs 24:3-4. And if you go back to that day, it will be there. I'm just going to step forward and grab off my metal board. I did share this on that day, and I've shared it plenty of times over the past 300 plus days, and I will share it here again. This is the amplified translation of Proverbs 24 verses 3-4. I've expanded it a little bit for my own edification, and I'll share that with you. It will be in the show notes for that day as well, so please go back there if you need it. Here it is. Through skillful and godly wisdom is a house, a life, a home, a family built. and by understanding it is established on a sound and good foundation, and by knowledge the rooms, every area, every recess, every part of your life, the deepest parts of a life, a home, a family, are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. That is the possibility if you're focusing on change. And then I also shared Hebrews 4 verse 12 from the J.B. Phillips translation. The word that God speaks is alive and active. It cuts more keenly than any two-edged sword. It strikes through to the place where soul and spirit meet, to the innermost intimacies of a man or a woman's being. It exposes the very thoughts and motives of a man's heart. Your inner atmosphere can change radically and dramatically depending on how much work you're going to put into it. And friends, yes, the Bible can help you change if you apply the teachings of the Word of God because of Christ to your life. But it requires work and discipline. So day 325, we have just covered that. And then on day 326, my response to day 325 and what I was working through on that day was plan it, grow it, live it. So what about our plans? What about our plans should be the primary focus? Without a picture of hope, outcome, goal, atmosphere, all our planning will fail. We're doing it for gratification, our own, rather than for the glorification of God. If you're trying to change things about your life so that you can look better, if you're even trying to apply all these biblical principles to your life so you can look better to others other than honoring God with the transformation of your life, then it's all about you. You are doing it for your own glory and not the glory of God. You're doing it to suit yourself, to be more liked, and that's the image that will always fail in the long term. Yeah, some people do fake it for a lifetime, but they can't fake it before God. And I'd rather, with all my faults, with all my shortcomings, not have a facade of falsity to present to others. I'd rather have pure joy, pure camaraderie of spirit and soul with others than to have all the fakeness that so many people seem to thrive on. I read I read a Facebook post this morning by one of my favorite pastors in Ohio, and he's been writing some things that have really resonated deeply with me. But this morning's, it wasn't a contradiction to anything else he'd ever written, but it just made me think, if he is showing a crack of no hope in a certain difficulty in the church, what hope is there? And I didn't like that. That's something that I need to go into the inner atmosphere of my own soul and figure out, why did that rattle me? Shouldn't I be so secure on the foundation? And this is my little foundation, which represents my faith in the Word of God and the notes I've written over all these 300 and however many days, 30 days, 329 days. This is it. And not that this is anything other than a block of word and notes, but it is a representation of the Word of God on which I'm building my life. I need to be more anchored so that when I read things that cause me to not lose hope, but to question goodness. This is a man who leads a church, and this is his question or his explanation, and it's okay. I don't get it. Maybe I should write him a note and ask him about it. I think that's a good thing to do. So it goes to show, no matter how far you are, whether it's 329 days or 329 months that you're into a plan for change, things will come to your life, and we need to be prepared. As I said, that inner atmosphere needs to be calm enough, responsible enough, assured enough to be able to address those outer things that come to it, that we're able to respond in a good way. Now, I read it this morning, and it's just a few hours since I read it. I need to wrestle with it throughout the day, and not that I'm doubting him or challenging him. It's often just not enjoyable to read other people's experiences, because it then digs up your own experiences, and it's just sad and it's grievous to the church. So it's not his fault, it's not my fault, it's what God would call not appropriate. It would grieve him. It does grieve him, and therefore our response of grief and sadness is appropriate. As I covered in the past few months, and I've addressed this in a discussion on grief, when our grief is in line with what grieves God, then it is in essence worship, because it's acknowledging what he would call sad and not good about events in life. And if it's within the church, doubly then so should our grief be worshipful. Lord, you grieving over this. This is your church. And sure, it can only bother him. Why God doesn't bring changes more radically and rapidly in those situations, I guess it's because he wants people to thrash it out within themselves, to assure themselves of their faith, and that is a good thing. So therefore, we can have a melancholy moment in our inner atmosphere as we contemplate something outside there, and come to peace and come to terms with it. Day number 327, let's move along. Planning for change requires an honest assessment after careful heart examination. What's your deepest struggle? What is the cause? What have you done in the past to work through it? And write it out, think about it, and identify growth and discipleship needs, and so forth. Now that will be more information on day 327, and it is on the playlist. Day number 328 is personal growth and assured response to our plan to change. What are you hoping for in that outcome? What do you want in that outcome? What is your reality? What does growth look like to you? What does real growth look like in your reality? What will be satisfactory, and what causes you to throw in the towel? Now, that is everything that I discussed this past week, and it seems to me like lots of areas are just left hanging, that it's not everything brought together. I think that goes to show that we need to keep a life dependent on God, because as I've already shared, that although I'm wrapping up the week and I'd already gone through everything, and this morning I read a Facebook post which rattled me and has caused me to think most of the day. It's going back all the way to the beginning, and that doesn't mean that the growth has failed. It means that the growth is showing to be an advantage, and the desire for more growth is an advantage that we have to keep going back to address the inner atmosphere and make sure we are staying anchored to truth, that when these things come to us, they may unsettle us for a moment, for a day, but we respond in the correct way, because we know that God is testing our faith and growing us and encouraging us to then share with others as he has encouraged us along the way. So friends, I hope that serves you well today, and I look forward to being back tomorrow. It's day 330, 35 more days, and my challenge will be done. So until tomorrow, take care and God bless, and I will be back again for some more encouragement. Bye-bye for now.